group to hang with. I don't know why, we seem to have more fun during our sessions, so it's pretty fun. So anyways, I'm not going to take a ton of time. I just wanted to thank everybody. You guys are, I mean, you are, I can't even say enough. You are really the backbone of what we do. And I know that without the faculty helping me, I could not be doing what I'm doing today. So you guys, standing ovation if I could. Thank you so much. It's definitely not easy doing what you do for us. So thank you. And then that's from all of us that even are not here. But I just wanted to give a couple updates. And I think Dr. Butler did end up joining us. I thought I seen him pop in, so he can maybe jump in if he has anything. But just first of all, one of the latest things that we've just recently probably just underwent is a very large, sorry about the background here, a very large review for our LMS. So some of you may already know, but just in case you don't, we have done 2 months. It wasn't a very long review, but it was very intense, and many of you in here were a big part of that. And so I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that we have decided to move with Canvas, and that transition's going to be taking quite some time. We heard everybody's voices in that, if a move was made, to please, be conscious of, taking the time for the necessary training, the transition, and giving everyone time to still be able to keep the design of what they've become accustomed to intact, or learn new ways if that doesn't happen. So we hear you on that. So you can expect that over the next year, several months, we're going to be talking about that. We're working with project managers from Canvas and here at Jackson College that are going to help us make as smooth a transition as possible. So what also you need to know is that through all of this, the decision that was made rose to the surface from all of the work and the comments and the user groups and everything that occurred during that time. So there is the website, and I'm going to try to pull this up before I leave session today and put it in the chat box. We've created a website to keep the work in the project very transparent. So if you are wondering how that came about or why it came about, and some of the highlights that had occurred, we've posted that on a website in Employee Central that you have access to, of all of the meetings and sessions and user groups. And then the final presentation to leadership occurred on December 17th. So we presented the information as we gathered it, and then the leadership made their decision to move with Canvas based off of all of the findings of your work. So thank you so much for that. And then, of course, welcome to the semester. There is a couple things I did want to just kind of bring up is in regards to classroom protocols for COVID. If you should have a situation where you have to follow the COVID protocols of your classroom, which means flip it to a virtual setting, that we ask that you report that to, of course, security. You're going to file your report with them, but then also inform the dean's office via Kara Hochter that you have moved your course to a virtual classroom because you're following COVID protocols. So if you had any questions about that, I'm more than willing, to take any questions from anybody, even if it's later on. So if you do, just let me know. But we want to make sure that we're keeping track of those courses that do get moved to a virtual setting, just so we have an idea of what's occurring and what support we may need to offer from the dean's office. So with that, I don't have anything else. Just a big thank you, and I'm going to hang around for a little bit just so I can hear what everybody's saying and answer questions if you have them in the chat box. So thanks.
Tom, if I could just add one comment before we jump forward. It's great to see all of you again, even if it's just virtual. It's wonderful to see you. I am an indelible memory in my mind is 1 year ago. We on this night were meeting, and it was the insurrection at the Capitol. And I remember how aghast I was, how speechless I think we all were, just sort of a deer in the headlights staring at something that we never imagined. And this is what we do as educators. We prepare people to go out into our country and our world and to make them better places, to be more informed citizens, to be folks who will know truth when they see it, stand up for truth, and fight for the rights of everybody, but do so in ways that keep within the Constitution and within what civil discord and our own humanity demands of us. And it was a very special evening to spend with you this time last year. And as we're on the eve of it again, I think it's really important that we all pick up where we left off and to go back into our classrooms being really clear about what we are educators of and for. And welcome to this semester. And I thank you, and it's a pleasure to be working with you again in this effort.
Thank you, Dean Butler, for that. And I remember, I do remember that night, and just the change that we have done, beyond and continued here at Jackson. So without further, we're going to go into Registrar McNitt. Zach, I'm going to turn it over to you for a little bit, and you let me know when you need me to share.
Awesome. Thank you. Good to see everybody. I know a lot of familiar faces on this call and some new ones. So some of you have probably heard what I'm about to talk about. But I think it's important enough that we can repeat it for some people. So what I'm here to talk about tonight is the importance of attendance taking and essentially managing your rosters. At Jackson College, faculty members, meaning you, even adjuncts, you are responsible for students on your roster and reporting whether or not they are attending and participating in your class. This is extremely important. The Department of Education requires that we monitor if students are attending and if they are participating. And if they are, then obviously the Department of Ed allocates financial aid resources to those students. If a student is not attending class, obviously Department of Ed does not want to distribute Title IV financial aid funds to those students if they're not attending. So by law, we're required to monitor this. And how we do that is we do that through the faculty member or the instructor. So as Tom gets this going, he's going to show you the platform in which you will report this, but I want to explain to you kind of how we want you to do it so that we can stay in compliance and ensure that we're doing what's best for the institution, but also what's best for our students. So I'm going to kind of explain some terms and you're going to get more information on this. So if it doesn't quite click on the first go around, it's okay. We'll be there to answer questions. You'll all be responsible for your class. And as you can see, Tom's logged in here and you can see the class that he would be responsible for right here. We would log into that class, and when you go to enter your attendance, now how you keep your attendance can vary based off of if you have an online class, a hybrid class, a face-to-face class. All those variables come into play when you're tracking your attendance. So essentially what we want you to do, we're going to start in the beginning, kind of work through the semester. Every class has what's called a census date. A census date generally, if it's a 7-week class, is on day 4 of the term. If it's a 15-week class, it's day 10. If it's a 5-week class, it's day 2 or 3, kind of just depends. What that census date means is that once that date passes, your roster becomes locked in. What that means is anyone who's on your roster after the census date is billed for their tuition, but also then generates their financial aid generates, meaning if they are financial aid eligible, Title IV funds will hit their account. So it is extremely important that in your first few days of your class, you're either managing your attendance or you're doing an activity that requires students to log in if it's an online class or submit an assignment, something to show that that student is engaged and participating in your class. Because if they're not, we want to drop students who are not engaging in your class that first week. We want to drop them before the census date if possible. Because obviously, again, if we drop them before that census date, they're not billed. They do not get their Title IV funds. It's like they never attended. And that's what's best for the college. It's also what's best for the student. So Tom, could you go to the screen where they would enter in a never attended option? So what you would want to do, if you have a student who's in your class and they never attended, or they did not participate in that first, 4 days or 10 days, whatever your census date is. If they did not participate, what we want you to do is you'll log into this field here, the grading. You'll go to the final grade. You're going to select the never attended box. When you click that, that's going to send a notification to the registrar's office that this student has not logged in, has not done anything in the first 4, 5, 10 days of my class. What that's going to tell us to do is we will remove them from your class, and we will ensure that they are not billed. We will also ensure that their financial aid does not populate and hit their account. That's extremely important. Now, for those of you that are wondering, when is my census date? What does that mean? You can access it in Jetstream, or right here where Tom's showing the deadline dates, but you'll also receive an email from the dean's office that's going to have all that information in there. So if you're unsure of what that is, it's accessible within your course, but it's also accessible via your email when the dean's office will send that to you. So that's kind of that's the first way to drop a student. And what I want you to know the difference between dropping a student before the census date and then dropping a student after the census date. So what we just went over was the never attended feature, and that's what we want you to do before the census date. Now, once your class gets going and your census date passes, as we all know, life happens, students kind of fall off our rosters, or they stop participating as we're working through. It's not ideal, but we know that it happens. So the next way to drop a student, if you're in week 3 or 4 of your course and someone hasn't participated in, a week or 5 days, or they've missed 3 assignments in a row, you've reached out to them, you haven't heard from them, what we want you to do, we want you to go in and enter what's called a last date of attendance. And Tom, you can show that on this screen here. What we want you to do is we want you to enter the date that the student was last active in your course. Whether that was they turned in an assignment, they participated in a discussion board, they were in your class if it's a face-to-face, whatever that last date that you saw them or they interacted or they were doing what you needed them to do, we want you to go into that tab and enter that right there at the last date of attendance. What that's going to do, once that date gets entered and you get out of this screen, my office, again, will run a poll each morning. And then this information will come in, and it will come in with the date that you specify. My team then will go drop the student as of that date, and they'll get a W assigned to their account, which is a withdrawal. So it does not hurt their GPA or anything like that. But it also keeps you in compliance to ensure that you're not letting students stay fully enrolled if they're not participating. This is extremely important because we have to certify financial aid and certify enrollments on a monthly basis, okay? So what we want you to do, again, as instructors, if a student stops attending, we want you to notify us no more than 2 weeks after they've stopped attending, okay? So what I don't want to have happen, if someone stops participating in week 3, you don't let us know until week 15, that's not gonna work. That's gonna be a violation to the Department of Education. So if someone stops attending within 14 days of their last date of attendance, we need you to go in and enter that date. That'll allow us to adjust the record. It'll also allow our financial aid team to report that appropriately, so we're not getting flagged by the Department of Education. It's extremely important that you do that. Again, kind of another important date, and Tom had it in the deadline dates here. You'll be emailed this by the dean's office. There is a last day to withdraw your students from your course. Now, what essentially that means is, you'll see here the example 222. After 222 for this course, you can no longer make any roster adjustments, meaning that once that date passes, you can't drop anybody, your roster is final. It is expected that everybody gets a final grade if they're still on your roster after their last date of withdrawal, okay? Again, you'll have those here and you'll be emailed those. When you go through to enter your final grades, kind of the rule of thumb, if you get past that last date of withdrawal and you're entering final grades, you should not be entering a never attended or a last date of attendance. If you do that, something went wrong. I can't stress enough to you, and we've gotten really, really good at this, how important this is. About 70 to 80% of our students have some form of financial aid that they try to use towards their account. So a vast majority of the students you're teaching, this will impact them. And if we do it wrong, it can create debts for the student. And it can, if we have a large error, the college has to return Title IV funds, and that doesn't look good. And we obviously don't want to do that. So this is a big responsibility that we ask you to do, to kind of monitor and maintain and update your roster. We're always here for questions. Tom can assist, I can assist. And if you enter something incorrectly or you drop a student that you weren't supposed to, you can reach out to Tom, you can reach out to me, we can fix that, get those students reinstated. It's not a big deal. What I would ask, especially during that first week, is that you're very deliberate with your rosters. If it's before your census date, make sure that people are logging in and participating, or that they're attending and they're, face to face, they're in your class. If they're not, drop them and get them out. If they circle back after that census date and you feel it's appropriate to let them in, there's things we can do to get them back in. But it doesn't look good for the college if we have to go back and return Title IV financial aid money. So it's very important that you maintain these, and we know the difference between never attended and last date of attendance, and that you're reporting those in a very timely fashion. So with that, I know that was kind of a lot. And again, I know a lot of you on this call have already done this, but for those that haven't, that's kind of how we do this in a nutshell. If there are any questions, Tom and I will gladly take those. So feel free to send those to the chat. I see Tom's responding, or go ahead and just ask.
Yeah, Zach, there was a question about dual enrolled students.
Okay.
About the policies around them.
Yep. So previously, and we've kind of come out of this, previously we used to keep dual enrolled students in your classes, even if you requested them to drop. We did that for the benefit of the high school, because the high school has to report those students differently than we do. I will say we're starting to kind of go against that. So if you do submit a dual student or an early college student to drop, they may not drop the next day like everybody else. What we do, we take that name, we contact the high school, we call the guidance counselor, we figure out what's going on, and then we make a drop determination. So if you have a dual or an early college student in your class, treat them just like you would as a regular student. It just may take an extra day or two to get them to come off your roster, but we will process them. So please process them the same.
Now, there was a question about JetNet, and I can answer that. With JetNet, the reason why students still have access to that is in case there was a mistake made that a student was dropped, or you let the student back into the course for a readmittance. So the student still has access in JetNet so that their materials still stay in JetNet. If we were to go in and remove the students from JetNet, all of their materials that they've already submitted, if they submitted any, would be removed. So that's why the students move to a suspended status. It's like it was stated in the chat, a couple days after you drop them. So it's just the process to catch up with those students. So that is why students still have access in JetNet for a little bit.
Saw the question from Marie about CEP. Ideally, CEP, if you're a instructor within the prison, that's kind of a separate animal with all the variables that we're battling with COVID and then access and things like that. Ideally, yes, we do still want to try to have timely reporting for students. If we're not getting, if we can get in there and we're collecting work, that's great. If they're not submitting it, or they're not reaching out, or we can't get a hold of them via the JPay system, we want to try to get them out. I know it's not easy in the prison, but the same rules apply to our CEP students as they do to our traditional students. If they're in your class past that census date, they're billed, financial aid is awarded, they get reported to the National Student Clearinghouse. If we have to give a bunch of that money back at the end, it doesn't, again, it's not good for the college, it's not good for the student. So I know in CEP, it's not as cut and dry as it is for our traditional students, but we want to try to maintain our rosters in a timely manner.
I was just going to jump in and address Penny's question. Zach, could you give me the exact wording? I know you have it in your mind there. Tom probably does too. But the financial aid regulations say the student can't just be in the class. They have to, what is it, like substantive academic engagement? What is that term?
Correct. So the verbiage, I don't know the exact verbiage, Dr. Butler, but what we've gone by and how we have defined and when we've been audited is I've labeled it as active participation. So if someone's just sitting in your class but not doing any work, not participating, not submitting, that technically is not counting as an active participation. There's a lot of ways to, I don't want to use the word scam, but that might be the best way. There's a lot of ways that students can remain in your classes without doing anything, and they're doing it for the sole purpose of getting a financial aid refund or kickback. And we want to obviously to try to avoid that. So again, I saw the question there of just leaving them in and then failing them at the end. We would like to avoid that. If they are not actively engaged or actively participating in your course, and you've tried to correct that and it's not resonating, you're within your right to drop that student for not actively engaging in your course.
Well, and most importantly, if they're not responding, when you're reaching out to them with reminds and emails and phone calls, even the alert system, all of that, and you're not getting, you or the navigator is not getting any response, that's also the clearest sign of lack of participation and substantive engagement in the class. So it's really important that we cut them from the class at that moment.
Absolutely. Do we have any other questions that we want to hit real quick?
Yeah, hi. I do have a question. This is Al Alston. I apologize. I joined a little late, but I did have a question regarding a Teams account. Do we see in the future, or if they already have it, I again apologize for the question. If not, do we see the students having a Teams account that would make it for offline classes or even online? But that would make it really nice for meeting, video chat, audio chat, collaboration, file sharing, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you.
Tom, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not believe that that is an option that our students have at this time.
As of the last check, but I will get back with you, Al, on that. I will check in on that for you, and I'll reach out to you about that to see
Okay.
the answer. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Hi, this is Gary Hunt. Just in regards to, students not actively engaging, is there a set number of kind of missed communications or attempt reach outs that you want to see, or just?
We do not standardize it. We allow the instructor to kind of determine that, and it's normally delineated in the syllabus.
Make sure you've done your. What's that?
No, I say we don't standardize that. We normally have the instructor do that via their syllabus of what their kind of drop policy or attendance policy is going to be. Some instructors are very strict. You get 1 or 2 absences, they kick you from the course. Others are a little more lenient depending on the delivery and what the class is. So the rule that we operate by as the college, again, and it's strictly for reporting, I would not say that you employ this in your class. We want the notification within 14 days of the last time they participated. But I would, if I was teaching a class, I would not let a student go 14 days without doing anything and then finally dropping them from the class. I would encourage you to do it, in an appropriate length of time, but what that time is, I think varies by each course, each professor, and what the material is. So we don't standardize it.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last thing, I just wanted to check really quick, or just show you all really quick, is so you can verify if you've submitted the last day of attendance and that. So if you do a date in here, which I can delete this after today, but if you go here, and then because it hasn't started yet, so that's the problem yet. Dang it, that's at least it told me. That's funny. Let's see. If you go to overview, it will show you the date there, and that means it is saved in there, so that you know that you've completed it, or you'll see a check mark there if it's a never attended. And if you made a mistake, like right now, I made a mistake because the class hasn't started yet, so how can they not last day attended? You can go and delete it until that next business morning, and then it'll check it right there and it will load, and then that one's gone. So just in case you made a mistake with that and you're verifying it, I always check the overview to make sure it does save. And if I see it there, then that means it does save. So that's just my last little check that I normally do. So, well, Zach, thank you very much for that. Does anyone have any other questions for Registrar McNitt? Okay. And I'm going to go into, I saw some questions about retention alert. So I'm going to go into retention alert and just kind of talk about that in this last section. Just reminding everyone what retention alert is and the importance of it. Okay, that's funny. There goes Zach. I got you off the spotlight. I know you don't really like the spotlight a lot. So let me go in. So let me go into share into retention alert in Jetstream. So we're going to go. So in Jetstream, you'll have, if you have a concern about a student, you reach out to them. You can't contact, like they're not responding, they're not coming to class. You want to reach out to their navigator. So you're going to come to here to retention alert. And then you're going to go to the contribute retention alert information. And this is where you will type in the student's information. So I'm just going to type in myself, my ID. And you would put the right here, you'd put what you would have for it. So whether it's multiple, they're missing something, class event, a life event, maybe they told you, something went on at home or that, and they let you know what was going on. You want to let the navigator know. So you would just put whatever you would have. So let's say poorly prepared assignments. And here you'll put the section number. So you'll put, let's just pick a section number that you would have, just the example. And then you're going to write in here, as many notes that you want to feel comfortable of giving to the navigator. So when the navigator reaches out to the student, they have that information with them. So they have that when they're making that phone call, when they're reaching out the best way that they know to reach that student, so that they have the information in front of them, because they can't see the access in Jetstream or in JetNet or see any other feature that you're using for class. They can't see that performance from the student. So if they have that information in there, I'll put just a random note test. Then you would hit save, and then it will show you who that case was assigned to, and that is there's 99% of the time that's the student's navigator. And then it goes into the navigator realm of kind of reaching out, and then you will see this as you come into retention alert. If you go to my contributions, it does take a while for me because I was a navigator before this position, so it still loads a lot of those still, but it's a lot quicker for most adjuncts as we work our way through. And I saw the questions about, yes, there definitely should be a response. So I'll be working we'll be working with a staff just to make sure that we're getting those responses and working those out. If you're not getting a response from the navigator, please reach out to me, and then we can work on that, and I can check in and see what's going on with those cases. But you'll see in your My Contributions, you'll see the student name, the date created, and then the status right here as new shows that it's a brand new case that hasn't been seen yet. So that's just kind of the details, and you'll see the details in here of what you had wrote. So you'll kind of see any, unfortunately, you don't see any updates in here, but if you had something, let's say that student did respond to you and you're good now, you can write in here the additional notes, and that will go add to the case too, for the navigator too. So that's kind of a great little a great spot in there of always adding back into those cases in case you do hear back from a student, because I know I've had that a couple times where I've submitted a retention alert case and then that night that student responded to me and I could go in and cancel the retention alert case because it was taken care of because that night they had responded to me. So that's kind of a spot that I always have as a kind of a note update for there. Does anyone have, are there any questions beyond the one that we kind of talked about? Kathy, with that, it does not have that of linking the student's email also when we activate the retention alert. Now, the old e-services, I guess dating myself a little bit for here, e-services did, where you could add an email and send an email directly from the retention alert case, but the new retention alert does not in that realm. So good question though. I wish it did. I definitely wish it had that capability because I did use that a lot. So are there any other questions about attendance, grades, retention alert, anything like that? Okay. I don't see any more. So let's go into, we'll go into our library session. So we'll go in with Jen Mikesell.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Let me see if I can share my screen here. I always have problems with this. Share screen. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see the library webpage in just a second here. In the meantime, I'm Jennifer Mikesell, formerly Jennifer Adams. The last name change might be a little confusing, so sorry about that. But we are still here. The library is still here. For those of you who are new, we do have a library, a physical space that students are actually currently using. Far fewer numbers, which is kind of sad, but they are coming in. And one of the biggest things that they use is our breakout rooms. They love our breakout rooms. And just so you know, if you're not aware, we are socially distanced here, including our breakout rooms. We're real safe. Everyone's wearing masks. So we have a good operation set up here. And our hours are a little, hold on, I'm sorry. I have this on my other screen. Can you guys see the webpage, Tom?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. I don't always know. Okay, so here's our webpage. And speaking of our hours, we have revamped our website a little, so it's hopefully a little more intuitive to students with some less jargon. But if you scroll down, we have our hours button. And at the moment, and I think for most of spring, yes, we're going to be open from 9 to 6, Monday through Thursday, 9 to 12 Friday. We're not open on the weekends yet. Hopefully we'll get back to that eventually. But this is what our hours are currently. And we do have physical books available. If any of you are new, you can contact us and we'll get you a library card. You don't actually have to have a physical library card, but that is how you're able to access our books, our physical materials. We're hooked up with Jackson District Library System, so you can get those too. And also wanted to kind of push interlibrary loan, because I think some instructors still think that it takes a while for us to get items that are from Melcat or OCLC. If there's something we don't have, we can get that for you. And BJ, my library associate, is really good at getting these things extremely quickly. So let us know if you need an item that we might not have. But we do have physical books still. Our second floor browsing area is off limits right now, but we can grab for you anything that you want. So we do have that. And aside from our physical services, clearly, I think most of what we do is virtual anyway. So regardless of what happens with COVID and virtual services, we are going to kind of continue just as we always have. Our databases and ebooks are fantastic. If you have not explored them, but on our homepage here, let me do this. Front and center on our website, we always have our discovery search box. If you're not familiar, we have, I believe, 120 academic databases and upwards of 300,000 ebooks that we would love students to use more frequently. But the search box here is something that we hope students will sort of think is Google, because of course their go-to is Google. But this is a really robust search that combines every single resource we have into one streamlined search. And I'm just gonna quickly show you how this works. I haven't explored it. I don't know why I'm doing it. But I just plugged in nursing interventions here to see what comes up. So yeah, we have a million hits here, but I wanted to show you this menu.
Jen, it's still just showing the main resource guide.
It is? Okay. I wonder if it needs to catch up. Interesting. Wonder why. Okay. I don't know why. Well, I can talk about the results. So students are able to filter their results to ebooks, academic journals, trade publications, physical books, anything they want. And every single result has a citation tool. It's just a really, really great tool that students still aren't completely aware of. So we want instructors to spread the word about this. And this discovery tool may be a little overwhelming at first for students. So we actually have library tutorials that will help them learn how to use these resources. And I'm hoping that this will pop up on the screen. Let's see here. Sorry, guys, it's been a long day. Okay. Is this screen coming up, Tom, for the resource guides?
No, it just has the Zoom scheduling.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you know what it is? I have two screens here. That's what the. How about now?
Perfect. Yep, that is the welcome to JC resource guides with the database.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that. So we have a number of tutorials available that you can actually incorporate or embed into your curriculum, because we know that you probably don't have time to teach your students about things like how do I know if a resource is a valid source, or citations, plagiarism. So we have these they're actually assessment tools, and they're generally very short, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. We've created these for you so that your students can use them without you taking up your time. So anyway, just wanted to let you know that these are here. And the discovery tool, we have using the discovery search, a basic kind of tutorial, as well as a more advanced tutorial for students, but they're really great tools. And I'm just wanting you guys to use them. Let's go back. So I'm going to go to the help button here. This little button has a lot of information for students and faculty, but As far as reaching the library, we have a lot of ways for students and you to reach us virtually. We have submitting a question just on a form. We have one-on-one appointments students can schedule with us so that we can help them with a visual, so we can share our screens and everything. And probably the biggest service that we have virtually and all the time now, I find I'm always on chat. We have an actual library chat, if you guys don't know about this. And it is available 24/7 because we partner with other libraries in Michigan, Western, Michigan State, LCC, and we all take turns with different shifts. And even globally, lately I've been talking to a lot of students from the UK, so it's kind of a cool thing that we enjoy. But the point is students can have library help if they have a question about, you know, how do I cite this electronic resource at 1 in the morning? They can just grab chat and someone will help them. If it's not someone from our library, the other libraries in Michigan have access to our resources so they can walk them through. So it's just a really great resource that we definitely would like you guys to use. The last thing that I want to talk about is instruction sessions. So we still do instruction and we can do it physically right now or virtually. I have a couple physical sessions lined up right now for spring, but this is a really great tool that can be completely customized to whatever you have time for. So if you want me to visit your classroom via Zoom, we can talk about MLA style. We can talk about how to find peer-reviewed journal articles, how to evaluate resources, whatever you want. If you have 15 minutes, that's cool. If you have an hour, that's fine too. But we really want you to just keep this in mind because we can do this no matter what the situation is at the library. Having said all of this, we are admittedly a little bit understaffed right now because my amazing librarian Jen is out on maternity leave. But the good news is when she comes back, she will be full-time and I'm very excited about it. Let me see here. So, boy, I guess that is all I have to update you guys on. There isn't a lot new since the new year started yet. If you have any questions, just throw it in the chat if you haven't already, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. Thanks a lot.
Yes, Hope, that is a great, Canopy is a great streaming service for your class, especially for the areas, for documentaries and that.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, Tom, I'm sharing now. Stop share.
Perfect.
All right. Can you unshare for me, Tom?
Yep.
I can't find it. I'm sorry.
Oh, I got you. I got you taking care of, Jen.
Okay, good. All right.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Perfect. Okay. So we'll just go right on into to Monica and crew she's got with her today. I will say that.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
I'm glad I logged in early. I was rushing home, like, I hope I make it. So for those in the Zoom room, hi, Sandra Langston. For those in the Zoom room that really do need to put me this big, that's okay. I'll roll with it. Ariel, stop laughing. Okay, so for those in the Zoom room that don't know who I am or haven't met me, my name is Monica Bouman. I'm the Associate Dean for Student Services. And that includes all wondrous things like TRIO, which I'll talk about in a moment, the Center for Student Success, the testing lab, our multicultural center, admissions, and international. And so if any of those types of questions arise, please feel free to find me. I'm at the very front of Burt Walker Hall, physically in that front office adjacent to admission. So that's physically where I'm at on Central Campus, and open door policy. Feel free to reach out, email, phone, again, for those that don't or haven't had the pleasure of meeting you yet. Okay, so Ariel, Our lovely Center for Student Success specialist is going to help with the tech end, and she's going to share her screen. And we're going to start with our tutoring center. So I'm not going to go through every single tab. I trust that you'll visit this page if needed, especially if your students need. The most important thing I wanted to show today was our hours of operation in person. I know that we are still in a somewhat of a hybrid environment, but we do have in-person tutoring. We do have in-person services. The center is ready and waiting to help students that need assistance, including the lovely Ariel. She helps with, she's kind of our go-to tech person. She knows a lot about many different departments on campus, and she can help students get where they need to go. So again, those are our hours of operation, Monday through Thursday, and then of course, Friday mornings. We do offer online tutoring, very robust online tutoring. That is the main request that we're still getting from students, and we're very much student driven in terms of what we offer each semester. As you can see, there's many, many subjects with the semester starting next Monday. Ariel, if you wouldn't mind, just real quick, going back to that tutoring center page, I just want to point out how easy it is for students to make an online appointment. So let's say they needed help with accounting 214, and they can go ahead and click on Tracy's schedule, and then within a couple of clicks, they can see immediately when she's available, which you'll see includes Saturdays and Sundays, which, come to find out, through the pandemic and when we were remote, weekends and evenings are becoming the most popular times for students to request tutoring. So out of a horrible situation, we've found some very positive ways to serve the students. How did you get to the list of tutors? It happened very fast. Not a problem, Mark. I will have Ariel. So she's on the Center for Student Success main page. And then on the left, Mark, you'll see where it says Tutoring Center or Academics Tutoring. That's a 2-click show. Way to go, Ariel. Thank you. And then that's an alphabetical list, Mark, of our offerings, which you can search as well, which Ariel is demonstrating. Tom included a link as well, and he will have that available in the resources. No problem. That was a great question. And we just learned a shortcut from Ariel. Let's talk a little bit about our Writing Center. I know Ariel was getting to that. Our Writing Center is right inside of the Center for Student Success. Again, fully operational, in person and virtual. There are currently some bios listed below, so you can actually put a face to a name with the full-time or part-time rather adjuncts at work. Right now it's Sandy, Kim, and Pam, all from very different backgrounds. They have very different followings from students, all wonderful ladies. And we do have a new gal coming to join us in the spring semester. Her name is Terry Utz. Many of you may know her from the English Learning Institute. She's going to start working in the Writing Center in the spring to join the other 3. They help with more than just, it's not just English 131 or comp papers. They help with all types of papers, including helping, with the reference pages. They do more than just help with the papers, I guess is what I'm getting across. They often help with test anxiety, making study plans, helping connect them with study groups. They're very much multimodal group. Okay, TRIO, let's touch on TRIO. So TRIO is a highly sought after program that we have here on campus. It has a pretty deep student organization as well. Thank you, Sandra. So TRIO is very highly sought after. It has a long history here at the college. It is a federally funded program in 5-year cycles. And so what that means is that the students do need to meet certain criteria. And I think that's on the About page, yep. So you'll see that they need to meet one of 3. So not all 3, but just one of 3, whether they're low income, according to the federal government, they are first generation, or they have a documented disability. And so there's an application. They can service, I think, 150 students a year now. There are openings, not a lot, given that we're entering, we've already begun the fall cycle. So as we're entering into spring, I think there's 20 students ish, or spots rather, that are open. So if you have any students that are seeking a little bit more connection. They do tons of support for students from like four-year institutions, transfer help, scholarship help. It's a little more hands-on. So if you have any students that are seeking that type or you think would be a good match, please encourage them to apply. There are still a few openings for this academic year. And I would be remiss, again, I apologize, Ariel. It's because I'm not controlling the screen, but it's so much better when you are. Can we, yes, so there's the contact. So Melissa Merkel, she's the Director of TRIO Support Services. Sheila is the coordinator guru. Nicole is the academic specialist. And then Anthony Reyna is our student success navigator that has his unique caseload just for the TRIO students. So they do get some individualized, specific one-on-one support. Again, highly sought after. Usually there's not even 20 openings at this point. So if I would highly encourage them to apply, it's online, it's super easy to apply. They've streamlined the application. And Melissa, and the success rates coming out of that program are significant. It is not based on your program of study. Nope, does not matter. Excellent question. Any questions about TRIO before I take one slight step back? So Ariel, if you can go back to the Center for Student Success page, I would be remiss if I didn't mention our center locations. In fact, they deserve more kudos than us. So if you, yep, so I wanted to mention Tennille, both Tennille and Linda. So Tennille and Linda do everything, basically, that the Center for Student Success has many folks to do here on Central Campus. So they help with accommodations, they help with the writing center piece, they help with connecting students where they need to go. So please know that there is support at the centers, especially for the faculty in the room that may be teaching at one of those centers. And I wanted to mention that before we move on. Okay, so we've done writing center, tutoring, TRIO, testing lab. So let's just briefly, the testing lab again is open. Carissa Shea, she's our lovely testing lab proctor, here to serve your needs. She will have a newsletter coming out shortly to welcome you to the spring semester. And that will be disseminated by Tom and Karen Hochter. It's pretty easy. Even though we are offering in person, we also still offer virtual, still status quo. And then last but not least, I wanted to mention, or not last but not least, but before we move into the college success workshops, which are really important, especially for those students that may have stepped out of college for a while, or they're taking, this is their very first college class this semester. These success workshops proved very fruitful for students last semester. So Ariel, why don't you touch on that first, if you want to bring that page up, and since you're the college catch-up extraordinaire.
Well, thank you so much, Monica. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are having an awesome night on this cold day. I know the wind was cutting into my face all day, but I love it. It's one of my favorite things about Michigan. So as we talk about the Center for Student Success and its all-encompassing thing, not only do people study in here and we help them with the services, we try to say that we're a one-stop shop. If we can't help you, we do know the resources to help you, and a student never walks away without a question either answered or the right person to connect with. As we talked about that, we'll talk about our college catch-up workshops, and these have been a huge hit. We were actually surprised about the students. Not only did they just sign up and say they were going to come, they actually attended, and many of them continued to come to the Center for Student Success, whether virtually or in person, throughout the fall semester. So we're so excited to bring them back. So excited, in fact, we offered more dates. So they're this week and next week as well, to kind of catch those students who thought maybe they would be okay. They see classes open Monday, they're looking at syllabus and they may need some help, right? Just figuring out, well, how do I get into my email? That's one of my assignments. How do I email my professor? Or, you know, I really have a lot going on with my life right now. It feels so full. How do I have time to study? We'll connect them with one of our writing center faculty members and have them create a study plan and get them all scheduled and help them figure out how life works and how college fits into that. So there's so many services we offer here at Jackson College, and we just wanted to make sure that we're catching those students and saying, hey, let's give you a one-stop shop where to find that. They get access to this JetNet course that they can have for the semester to go back to those resources to, again, have one place to kind of find everything that they need to keep moving forward throughout the semester. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Beyond the dates, we know those dates and times may not work for everyone, so we are offering them one-on-one if a student reaches out. And if you as adjunct faculty have questions about some of these things, let me know. I'm happy to give you the same presentation as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ariel. That was definitely a nice elevator speech there. But seriously, they're efficient. They're not terribly long. They capture their attention. They get the information that they need and they move on. And oftentimes, like Ariel mentioned, they come back. So, and again, Ariel touched on something that if this was a lot of information. So if there's anything that you do take away from this evening, if you are new, I know tonight and this week is a lot, especially gearing up for if it's your first semester, just know that the Center for Student Success, even if we don't provide the service, we can make that soft referral to ensure that the student is getting where they need to go. So if you're just not sure, you don't know the Oasis hours or the health clinic or how that works or how food insecurities work, anything, it doesn't have just to be at the academic side of the house. Please know that both the center and myself are happy to help. I'm always happy to be your person. Ariel's an adjunct herself, so she knows how overextended you can become, especially if you have a full-time job in addition to what you're doing for our students here at the college. Okay, as I promised, last but not least, I want to cover the students that have a documented disability. So Ariel, if you could take us back to the center page. And then I'd also like to, so I'm in transition. So as I said, I've taken on a new role here in student services as the associate dean. And so with that, we've been able to hire a new director for student support services. And this person will eventually take over the role as the institution's disability and inclusion officer, which I currently serve. So throughout this semester, I'm going to work with Janel Elenbaas. And then Janel, if you are on the call, just maybe wave, smile, do a little Vanna.
Hi, y'all. I'm here.
So Janel has been with the college serving in as the role of a navigator and then a lead navigator. However, most recently, as I said, she's taken on that student support services director role, overseeing not only our navigator model on campus, but as I said, will eventually transition into the institution's disability and inclusion officer. So what does that mean? So oftentimes you'll be used to seeing me. So emails will come from me every semester indicating to you that you have a student in your class that has identified as a student with a documented disability. They've met with me, we've done an intake appointment, and then I inform you what accommodations they should have in the classroom, whether it's extended testing time, which means time and a half at the college level, maybe it's preferred seating, maybe they need an oral proctor. So we're just informing you that the student will need to make arrangements with the Center for Student Success to have their test proctored to them. Those are just some of the more common ones. Note-taking sometimes is an accommodation, things like that. E-textbooks, which is kind of, again, yet another plus that happened during the pandemic. 90% of our textbooks are certified now. So these are just some helpful guidelines. What's different, oftentimes students transitioning from high school to college, there are some things that sunset, as I call it, reduction of assignments, anything that modifies the curriculum is no longer an allowed accommodation at the college level. So there's just some tips and tricks there that Ariel is working through. The most important thing for you to remember from tonight or from me talking is that you may receive an email from me or Neil or Linda in regards to a student that has an accommodation in the classroom. Also, if you have a student open up to you that says, I had extra help in high school, or I went to a separate room, or, you can't directly ask a student if they have a documented disability, but oftentimes as you're having this conversation, you may think, they may have had accommodations in high school. And so please, again, feel free to refer to either Ariel, myself, Sandy DeCesar, she's our center coordinator. And eventually in the summer semester, you will start seeing those emails come from the lovely Janel Elenbaas. So again, I know that was a lot. Do we have any questions right now? Awesome. So Ariel just put the all-encompassing JCCSS email. So feel free to email that if you forget my name, which is totally understandable, or Ariel's name, or just come to the CSS page and you can find us there. I appreciate the time. And again, if you think of, you know, questions tomorrow or next week or 3 weeks from now, please feel free to reach out.
Add one tip, as many of you may or may not know, we do class visits, whether virtually or in person. So if you want this information shared to your students, just let us know, shoot us an email, give us a call. We'll go ahead and stop by your classroom virtually or in person and give them the same information as well. Trio will do that also.
Thank you, Ariel. Tom and I were just talking about that today, actually. If we believe they have a disability, do we refer them to you or refer you to them? Wait, do we refer them? I would just refer them to me. Yes, I would just say, you know, thank you for coming to me and opening up about this disability. Would you, if you would, because in college, they do technically need to self-disclose, which they're doing to you, Mark. So with that, then if you connect them with me, I can help do the intake meeting and help set up the actual accommodations. So yes, it would be a direct referral from the student to come see me. Did I articulate that, Mark? Awesome.
I'm not seeing other questions. Does anyone have anything else for CSS and Trio? Okay, so thank you, Monica, Ariel, and Janelle. And I'm just gonna, yeah, I figured you were last, Ariel. Why not? Why not? Perfect. With that being said, I know President Phelan, I saw President Phelan stopped in. President Phelan, would you like to add anything tonight?
Hi, Tom, and hi, everybody. I've enjoyed the good sense of humor that I've seen tonight, too. It's quite a jovial bunch. I just wanted to say thanks to all of you for your service and commitment to our students. It is really a pleasure to be with you. And you know, Jackson College is a pretty unique place, a pretty special place. And I was just thinking earlier tonight, as I was seeing some of the commentary in the chat room and the like, just how fortunate our students are to have you as our part-time faculty assisting them in so many ways. And my hat's off to Tom and the entire team here has been presenting tonight. You've got, as adjunct faculty, you've got a full team here, as you can see, supporting you. So don't be a stranger. If you need help, reach out. That's what we're here for. And know that together, we engage in this work of loving and caring and serving each other and our students as well. And it's an important role that we play. And certainly we've been through a lot together over the last almost 2 years now. And I think we're kind of settling into the way things are. And education clearly has become more and more important as we look at societal needs in business and industry and the skill sets our students need to have. And from my perspective, I know that our students are in very, very good hands, and know that you are a very valuable, very important part of our academic community here at Jackson College. And I want to thank you for being here tonight as part of this program. And again, Tom, thank you, and thanks for the opportunity to be able to chat with folks tonight.
Thank you for stopping in. I know it's a busy time for everyone as we're getting ready for the semester starting. And just I kind of want to give an update as we move forward into I know we're thinking January, but I'm thinking for fall 2022 as an update. I'm looking to move these a week prior for the fall semester, so we're not just butting up to the semester, so that we can provide these tools, these operations, and give you some time to use them. So in the fall, we'll be kind of looking about 2 weeks prior to the start of the semester. So we have some time to go through, and then it's not adjunct learning days and then faculty learning days back to back, like how it was today, of having that. And also, you all were added to a course in JetNet that was called Faculty PD, and that's where the professional development recordings and schedules can be moved to. And if you have not, if you don't have access to that, I'm going to show you what it kind of looks like. Make sure I can log in. I'll share this really quick once I'm logged in. That logged me out. So give me 1 second, I'll just talk while I'm going for it. But this is where all of the professional development sessions are going to be living. And this will transition with us as we transition into Canvas. So that's the cool thing with our transition as we are taking that plan slow and making sure that we get everything correct. This will come with us, which is, I think, a great send push. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen now since I am now logged in. And yes, these backgrounds are available through our marketing website too. So where did Chrome this one? Okay, so one place that you'll see it is you can see it under your My Courses. You'll see it and you'll call Faculty PD here. And you're going to see the current schedule today, where the links are, where the links were, and then where they're going to come back to once they get them uploaded from today, from the recordings, and then all of the previous ones. And these are getting vetted by the professional development committee. So in case they do become out of touch with what we're currently doing, of everything that we're going for, and it kind of works. You have all of these great options for here, and also the schedules from the previous semester. So you should have all access to it. If you don't have access to it, please let me know and we can make sure that we get that fixed. I think they added everyone based on the last number I heard, but there's always a chance that someone did get missed. So please reach out if there's anything. So I just kind of wanted to share that as an important cool thing of where it's going for. And also this semester, I will be developing a JetNet course that will have our training materials in JetNet of a video, and also the physical how to do it like by paper or by list. Just so I'm developing that, so we have a one-stop shop of kind of having a repository of all those trainings that I do get questions about, so that you have a spot in case it's in the middle of the night and I'm magically not up, which I'm up a lot at night. So if you receive emails from me late at night, that's because I'm up. So, but just as a note, kind of from there. And like I said, that is right through our JetNet access at the top of our website, and you should have access to that. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to share, or why did that do that? There we go. Share of the semester. If not, then we kind of breeze through today. From there, I'll stick around if there's any questions that you may still have that you'd like to ask me. But good luck, and if you need anything, you know where to reach me. And I may see some of you on Saturday for the CEP meeting, or if you're coming for another rendition on Saturday, which is the same materials we're covering that we covered tonight. Have a great rest of your night. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
See ya. Bye, Tom.
Thanks, everyone.
Hey, Tom, this is Paige. I have a question for you.
Hi, Tom. Hi, Paige. It's Sandy.
Hi, Sandy. Good to see you.
Good to see you, honey. Take care.
Uh-huh.
Bye-bye.
Hi.
Hi,
Good to see everybody. I was eating and I finally realized I should turn my video off while I'm eating. A bad look. Quick question, Tom. I thought I paid attention to everything tonight, but I didn't hear how you are responsible for reporting attendance when you have an online class. It used to be there was a special place on JetNet that you had to go in and say who was absent. And has that changed?
That will be in Jetstream. So let me log into my Jetstream really quick and I'll just share it.
And what's the difference? I mean, I assuming hybrid and face to face, it's the same. You
So
know, the
everything,
dates are
yeah,
on there.
yeah. So everything is in the faculty portal. So I'm going to go to one of my fall classes because they're not built yet for spring because the classes haven't physically started yet. But let me go into one of my fall classes. And
Tom, to kind of piggyback on that, you know, the course that I'll be running this winter or spring is a hybrid as well, and so they're required to view the online lecture and then also participate at least once per week. Is there a deadline, you know, for every week?
Yeah, so every Thursday is by Thursday night by midnight is when you'd want to submit your attendance. So, and that could be, you could do it Friday and then that's good for the week, or Sunday or Saturday, but every week we want to do it by Thursday. So you're in compliance check with our weekly attendance requirements.
Okay, so essentially, I mean, I guess I would have to run my course somewhat like a Wednesday to Wednesday or a Tuesday to Tuesday to that.
I mean, it depends on how you want to do the first week. Mainly we do it with the first week because of that add drop period. So that you don't have students come in, because if it's a 7-week class, you have until that Thursday, until that is cemented into the student's account. If it's a 15-week class, you have the 10 days approximately. And if it's a 5-week class, you have 2 days. But it just depends on your class. But that's why we pick Thursdays, because we typically start on a Monday. So then it gives that 4-day note. But yeah, for an online class that does not have a meeting time, right? So it's not synchronous. It's just an from there. So what you will do is over here, let me move my screen over a little bit. You'll see the calendar. So you're going to pick a date of whatever you would want. And this is the thing that's kind of weird with an online class. So you could pick a date. So I always did mine on Thursdays. So I'm just going to go back to November 4th, for example. It would say this, maybe I did it on a Wednesday. I don't know. There we go, Wednesday. So I did it on the Wednesday for that week, and then I marked them all this way. Now it doesn't save it. The only way I paid attention to it is how I paid attention is my class was 12 weeks long. So I knew I needed 12 of these. So I was keeping it out with the weeks that I had, because the week, it doesn't save it like how it does in the face-to-face class where you have Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Thursday, right? Whatever the day is. It just goes depending on the calendar. So for example, if I went to the 4th and I forgot that I didn't do attendance, it doesn't show me that I did attendance, but I know I did it on that Wednesday. So then I can check it. And if for some reason you missed it by that Thursday deadline and you want to go back and update attendance, you can go back and do that as you work your way through.
Okay, so I don't actually have one, but sometimes my adjuncts ask me questions, so I want to be able to do this. I'm just, you go up to the top, you pick a date, and it's the same each week. You want them to do their absent report.
I would always suggest to try to pick a date so that it's consistent and it becomes
like
that
every
habit.
every Wednesday or every Thursday or every Tuesday or something like that, but not Friday. Well,
it could be Friday, right?
After the first week, it could be Friday, if it's depending. Okay, and just go in. Okay, I think I've got it. If not, as somebody asked me and I can't explain it properly, I'll come back to you, Tom.
Yep. So like I said, I always, for them with that page, I would say what week are you in your class and how many times you see. Right, whether it's absent, like just how many kinds of the count. Like I know, like this one student was here all 12 weeks. So perfect.
Right.
I knew, but that was my
Right.
check to make sure I did it each week because
Okay,
we
so
all
at
get
least
going
one
crazy.
student, had been present every week. I mean, most of them are there, but just,
Yeah.
so the 11 is somebody who missed a week, right? They were
And
absent a
that's,
week.
and so they were absent, so it's there. And we're only looking at
Right.
present and
Okay.
absent, right?
Okay, cool.
And what's the deadline on Thursday? What
So
time?
it's by the end of it's by midnight because it gets pulled the next
Okay.
morning. So it's technically Friday at 1:59 a.m. But because that's when the
okay.
system updates. So the system Webby, our reporting system, updates at 2 a.m. every evening, like so every morning. So technically you have until 1:59 a.m. on Friday.
Or midnight Mountain Time.
Right. Right.
Okay, and so Tom, would hybrid students, is a hybrid class look like this as well?
Well,
Because
hybrid,
like,
if they have physically in-person classes, they'll have a
Right.
date like how they would a face-to-face class. So
okay,
they'll
so then
actually
you
have it.
just go in and report on the face-to-face classes, and you kind of assume that they're doing their hybrid bit if they're coming to the face-to-face
Yep.
classes.
Or
Okay.
however you're doing attendance, right? If it's that and you're adding also the
And
active
then-
participation, like
Yeah,
you can always
and
go
a
back
login or
and change
a
it.
discussion or whatever.
Mhm.
Okay. I think I've got it. It's also,
And
there's
you can
so many
also
variations.
put notes in here too, which is really cool. So the student
Where?
would see it. So
Oh,
right here where
okay.
the bubble is. So let's say you did mark a
Yes.
student absent, even though they were in
Okay.
class, right? They were in class, but they haven't done anything in the class, like haven't actively participated with the class. You can write that
Right.
in there and just leave a comment.
Cool.
So if that student ever
Okay.
has a question, they'll be able to see that in their academic
Right.
attendance.
You were actually asleep today.
And you can also email
Okay.
the student directly from that roster too, which is always helpful.
Oh, good. Oh, great. Okay, super. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
thanks.
Ariel, I always enjoy seeing your face. You're always so jolly. It's really delightful.
Thank you. You know, they always say when you find what you love to do, it's hard not to smile.
Yeah, well, you glow, so it's lovely.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it for me. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, everybody.
Have a great night, Paige.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yep,
Hi,
bye.
Tom. I have a question. You
Mhm.
mentioned the CEP on Saturdays. It's going to be the same if I was.
So it will be at it's at 11 a.m. Let me put the
Yeah, but it is going to be the same or something else?
so it'll be something a little bit different. It'll kind of go over some updates that we're looking at that we have the current updates. Dr. Butler is actually running that session.
Oh, I thought that it's going to be the same, so I joined this one instead of Saturday.
No, this it has the important like those attendance, it'll be more what to
Okay.
expect in facilities and course packs and what we're hearing from the state. Or you're at Milan though, correct?
And also women, the Huron.
Huron Valley. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at Milan, I know that they're full bore ahead with everything going face to face.
Okay.
And we're waiting final confirmation from the state. So hopefully we'll have an update for Wednesday, but we don't start until the 31st, so we have some time.
Yeah, we don't know. We'll see what will happen.
Yep.
Now, I was just like hoping not to join on Saturday if it's kind of overlapping, but I don't know. Now I'm confused. So you suggested I should join on Saturday too?
Yeah, that one will be recorded too. So if for some reason something
Okay.
does come up, it'll get recorded.
Okay.
So we always
So
record them because we know that Saturdays don't always work, or Tuesdays at 4
Yeah.
don't always work. I know there probably will be one more update session for CEP before we start.
Yeah, because who knows what will happen with the corona. By then they can change their mind several times.
Yes.
So,
Even if it wasn't a pandemic, we know that
they can
CEP
change. They keep changing their mind. Well, I'm prepared for every option. Well, thank you, Tom.
Mhm.
Yeah. Have a great, Happy New Year. It's good to see you face to face. Bye.
Have a great
That's
night.
one of the great things about the pandemic is we're very flexible now. I feel like we can teach in any format. I feel like now I'm always prepared. Now when I plan, I just plan for everything.
Yeah, just have it.
Yeah, that's
So-
kind of how CEP was working. You just plan for everything.
Okay, good night.
Night.
Good night.
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Tom,
Yes, so-
can you hear me?
Yes, I can help.
Thank you for everything that you do. I really appreciate it. Okay, so I'm totally online and have the totally online e-textbook. And every semester there's students who are like, I can't figure it out. And it seems like we kind of go around in circles for a while. They're like, I can't do it. And I'm like, did you do this? And so we kind of go back and forth. So I wondered from you where I can direct them like immediately so we don't have to just kind of waste a lot of time. Because I definitely have, you know how it's like put up the course ID or even like that. Actually, we might not even have that anymore. It's so streamlined, but
Yeah, so
I
with yours,
usually-
is it just an e-textbook or is it a course pack for theater?
it is, oh, well, I'm not doing,
Oh.
I'm talking about humanities.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not doing theater this semester. So yeah, I do tell them the Jet Store email. Is that the best email to direct them to?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the best one just to make sure. I know that they worked on getting everything out. They said this morning, they said today, and they're working on it right as we get in. With course pack, like if they were a course pack or they do that 3 business days prior to the semester, so they may not have received that access yet for putting it into Jet. Now there is, let me go find that bit.ly link for the freshman development from Steve Tuckey. Because there was a session today and they gave an update of how students will access items too. That changed a little bit, that streamlined it more from fall for spring.
Okay. Oh, I probably should have been listening to that. Whoops. And then I have one question. About a year ago, when like the protests started happening, the president said to not have anything political in our backgrounds for videos. And I wonder if that includes Black Lives Matter things.
I think so, because it can be seen as a political statement. I'll verify that
I know, I was just going back and forth too.
I'll verify that to make sure. I don't want to be wrong with that. So, where was that link now?
I'll mention too, if any of your students you notice are like technically challenged, just like navigating JetNet or anything, you can always send them to the Center for Student Success. I handle a lot of that especially when the semester first starts. So if you have that, because I know, like I said, we're all busy, so that's my job to help students navigate those sorts of things. So if any of you guys need help with students who are just like, I don't even know how to navigate this or click on this, or I don't know what a browser is or a new tab or anything like that, please send them our way. It's really one thing I won't say I'm specialized in, but I do a lot of it from the day to day. I explained what a mouse was to somebody last semester, and how to work it and left click and right click. So when I tell you down to the basics, I'm here to help.
That's really helpful. I should, even if they're not trio.
Yeah, so the Center for Student Success caters to all students. We're free of charge. So that JCCSS email that I put in there, or the Center for Student Success phone number, that's just a general number. That's for everyone, even adjuncts. Anyone who just has questions, we're here to help everyone.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
of course.
I can. Yeah, this morning. Of course, I don't have it now, but I will find that because it was an important, it was a thing. I will find that and get that sent out and include that because that was a really important thing that I thought I had saved, but apparently I didn't. So,
Okay.
but it
Okay.
shows the new process. So it's back to a little bit where you just have to have the integration code for humanities, and then it'll go like how it was before. So then students will log, they won't get an access code. You know how with Cengage, the one semester they got an access code in their email and they had to use that so they could log in. Well, they're more integrated with their JetNet if they've opted into the books, into the book program. If they go to the JetNet and click the link that you've created, like the course integration that you created in there, it will log them in like how it had. So it was a little simpler in that realm.
Great,
But
thank you.
but there was a website, and I know exactly what it looks like, but of course I can't find it right now. I will send that when I send out to everybody because I know that's probably a question that lots of people could have had. Does anyone have any other questions?
Let's see, this is Vicky. I wrote to you in the chat. Okay, so there's no PD anyways. Okay, that there isn't any pay for this. That's okay. I just wondered because I'm not sure if I'm not teaching, if I'm in EduStaff or not. So that's all I wondered about. But I think I probably am until further notice.
I think that's until we would hear from us. It is that way.
Okay.
I think they're very similar to how we go with our adjuncts. And with the PD, like I said, it looks like it's going to be for the budget for next year as we work our way through, unless a certain department has worked with their dean. So
right. I just wasn't sure if these still were or not. It's okay. Anyways, it's interesting. I just want to keep in touch with you guys, even though I'm not teaching this semester and haven't for a couple of semesters, because I hope to do it again, because I did enjoy teaching in the CEP program. So hopefully there'll be a spot in the future when the enrollments go up and
they're starting to recover too.
Yeah. And are you guys starting next week? Because I teach at WCC and they've postponed it to the 18th.
We, as of this morning, we are full go. Yep. We're going. Okay. So I found, of course, I found that link. So after Hope had, I found that link, but I will send that out. I knew exactly what I was looking for. Of course, I found it after fumbling.
Yeah, WCC, a lot of the faculty, we still have to cram 15 weeks into 14 weeks, so they're not happy.
Yeah, one of my classes, I couldn't imagine cramming it down into another week.
Yeah, I just go with the flow. I'm teaching a distance learning class this semester. I was doing virtual before, and I just say, well, that's what I was told to do, so okay.
Awesome.
Anyway, see you guys.
And Kathy, with that question, there is definitely that with bringing those back, because I think the one session that we did do last fall or in the fall with Jay Panagay was well attended as we work our way through, and Canvas is definitely so. Canvas, there is hours and hours of training out there that we'll have, and we'll be going through. From what I've gathered, as of the start, right, and we're still starting that plan for Canvas, is it will be like paid required training as we worked our way through, just to make sure everyone's back up to speed, because it is a big is a switch. But for Zoom, Teams, Big Blue Button, I know that that's been the discussion in faculty professional development, to bring more of those sessions back, because those were really well received. So
that brought up another question. Do you what platform do you typically do for online classes or virtual classes? is it up to the professor or the
It
instructor?
completely depends on the instructor. A lot will use Big Blue Button, right? Because it's in-house, it's in JetNet.
Yeah, I was wondered what was in-house.
Because it's right in the system, and you don't get bombers at that point in time, or people, because they have to
Right.
log in, and like it's more secure that way. And Big Blue Button had that big update that Jay Ponegay wrote in JetNet today about those nice updates that make it very similar to what Zoom or what Teams can do. But it just always is preference. Like I know Zoom because that's what I've used, so I always would use Zoom. Others
Yeah.
always use Big Blue Button, so they would use that.
Yeah, I haven't used Big Blue Button, but if the school doesn't support it, then don't you have just a 45-minute time limit? You know, if you're just downloading the free option from Zoom.
Mhm.
So
And yeah, and there's ways around that, right? But there's not. There are certain ways around the 45-minute for extending in that, but Zoom has brought those back because everyone was exploring those hacks.
Yeah, so I find that it's good to use whatever the school supports, because then you're right, it's more secure and free. Anyway,
Here's the big one.
that's all.
Have a great night, Vicky. And then Kelly, with that question, I was easier probably to talk about. There's not for adjuncts because it's a stipend based. So when you pay, we don't do time cards unless you become like a lead faculty for a course or have a classroom contract. So our stipend just covers and it gets split between the how many hour pay periods it is depending on the class length. So typically a 15-week class is over 8 pay periods, 7-week class is over 4. So it just splits that stipend over those pay periods. And there is an additional stipend you'll see for CEP because of the in and out time of the facility. So you'll see an additional because of your times going in and out. So, and that's an extra hour a week that you get paid at I want to say it's the professional development rate. I forget the rate because I haven't taught in CP in a minute. Does anyone have any other questions for me? Let's stop the recording.